How's it going, everyone? It's Harvey from Weather Swan Drop. Today is November 9th, 2021, and today we're going to focus on the potentially major snowstorm that could impact the Northeast later next week, and we'll also talk about the current snowstorm that's going to impact the upper Midwest states in the very near future and bring potentially close to a foot of snow in some areas. But before I begin, make sure to subscribe if you want to see more weather-related content. Make sure to like if you like this video, and make sure to turn on post notifications if you want to see even more weather-related content. So let's begin by taking a look at the GFS model. This is as of 120 hours from now, and you of course see we do have a trough just off the east coast at this point, pretty much hugging the coast, and it's bringing some snow showers, especially to the interior portions of the Northeast, and this could be the setup for our next snowstorm for the Northeast, where we could see, for a lot of you guys in the Northeast, your first snow of the season, your first of many snowstorms that you could experience for the 2021-2022 winter season. And it could dump a decent amount of snow in some areas in the Northeast, especially in the more interior portions. But again, there's still a lot of uncertainty, and we need to wait and see where exactly this will go in terms of the trajectory. So if we were to begin, this storm will originate from the Pacific Northwest, will come off the Pacific Northwest coast. It'll move over, this trough will move over the Rocky Mountain ranges, and of course, since as that occurs, we're going to see a lot of the air forced upwards aloft into the atmosphere. So a lot of precipitation will occur right along the Pacific Northwest coast or in the higher elevations of the Rocky Mountains. And that's going to force a lot of air up. And as it moves just to the east of the Rocky Mountain ranges, all that air aloft, it is going to want to space out and pretty much divert away from each other. So we're going to see it sink down along the surface, and that'll create stronger winds right around Canada to interact with that cold air. And we're going to see a pronounced jet stream dip as a result of the strong northerly flow that's from this low pressure system that's going to steer this Clipper system further southward. And the thing I was talking to you guys about that could enhance the chance of a snowstorm for the Northeast and the Midwest right after this initial snowstorm is if this low pressure system remains strong enough to the point where it'll bring a strong enough northerly flow to bring a very pronounced jet stream dip as this passes eastward, and that which will force this Clipper system in Canada to move further southwestward at a faster pace, and it'll enhance, and this pronounced jet stream dip will also enhance the instability in this region, which would enhance the chance of a snowstorm happening next week for the Northeast and the Midwest. And you see that now the GFS model been leaning more towards that. And what's interesting is that today the European model is now sort of mimicking what the GFS model is saying, because in the previous run in yesterday's video, the European was disagreeing that this Clipper system would bring any sort of snow to the Northeast. But if we were to take a look at it now, you see that the European does bring a little bit more snow to the Midwest right after this first snowstorm. And if we were to take a look, you see that the European does bring a bit of snow throughout the interior portions of the Northeast. I wouldn't say the area is as large as a GFS model in terms of the area where you will receive snowfall accumulation, but it is much larger than the previous runs. If we were to take a look at the previous runs, let's go back to November 8th. Right around the same time period, you're going to see that as this first trough moves through, the European model pretty much weakened this low pressure system as it moved further eastward, as there wasn't enough of a strong northerly flow to steer this low pressure system further southward to interact with that more warm and humid air for more instability to occur and to maintain its strength as it moves eastward for snow to occur and the temperature to be cold enough for snow to occur. But it seems like the European model is now, in the latest run, is now leaning more towards the GFS model, which is certainly something we want to see, because that will definitely increase the certainty of snow throughout the Northeast. But again, I'm going around 6 days out with this, so a lot could change within 6 days. So do not take it. So take this forecast with a huge grain of salt as of right now, but the fact that the European model is now agreeing with the GFS model does give us a little bit more confidence that we might see a snowstorm come next week for the Northeast. Now, there's still a lot of uncertainty of how much snow you will receive, and who will receive the worst of the snowfall, because that obviously depends on how far south this jet stream dips. The further southward this jet stream dips, the more likely we're going to see cold air entrain the United States for precipitation to fall in the form of snow. And we'll also see more instability throughout the eastern half of the United States for the low pressure to become potent enough to really dump a lot of snowfall and create a lot of convection for high snowfall rates to occur. So it really all depends on how strong that northerly flow will be by the time we head into next week, because that'll determine how much instability and convection there will be surrounding the low pressure system and how much cold air there will be to determine what type of precipitation you experience in each area. And that will definitely be a huge determinant in how much snow we receive in the Northeast. Right now, it's hard to forecast how strong of a jet stream dip we'll experience. Right now, the trend is that the European model is leaning towards a more pronounced jet stream dip, which would mean that you will have more likely of a chance of a snowstorm. But 6 days out, there's still a lot of uncertainty regarding this forecast. So I'll make sure to update you guys once we get more updates. The current consensus is that we will see some sort of snowstorm in the Northeast by the Monday timeframe. So you definitely need to stay at least on high alert throughout the Northeast, because you could experience your first snowstorm in a while. And I'm including the Midwest as well, places like Ohio, Michigan, as well as Wisconsin and Illinois, including Indiana. You could experience your first snowstorm of the year for a lot of you guys. So you need to pay close attention to this over the next couple of days. Really all depends on how strong this first snowstorm will be by the time it reaches eastern Canada. If it's a little stronger, that means the northerly flow will be stronger to allow for more of a jet stream dip to occur, which would enhance the instability around the eastern half of the United States for a snowstorm to occur. But if the northerly flow is a little weaker as a result of a weaker low pressure system in eastern Canada, then we're less likely to see a snowstorm. So that's certainly something we need to keep in mind. Now, in terms of the current snowfall forecast from the potential Northeast and Great Lakes snowstorm, the second one I'm talking about. So if we were to take a look at the forecast based on what the European model is saying at this point, if we were to continue to move forward right around 7-day mark, we do see a large area of snow throughout the interior portion of the Northeast, much larger than the previous runs of the European model, because in the previous runs of the European model, the snow was pretty much exclusive to the coastal areas of the Great Lakes. But now we're seeing the snow extend further inland into Pennsylvania, into more of upstate New York, and the Catskills and the Adirondacks could receive over 6 inches of snow. And we do see a large area of snow throughout Vermont, throughout New Hampshire, and even extending to Maine. And while the Interstate 95 corridor isn't experiencing snow in the European model's forecasts, you see that the snowfall is too close for comfort to not at least be aware of this along the Northeast coast. So you need to at least be aware of this. And even extending to the Midwest, you see Michigan is getting involved in some snow, and Wisconsin as well. And we're even seeing places further south where get involved. But the GFS model brings a much more snow for the Midwest states, for the Ohio River Valley states, than what the European model is saying. So if we were to take a look at the GFS model's forecast when it comes to snowfall, you see that the GFS model is forecasting more snow for the Midwest states, and Chicago is deep in the snow, experiencing right around 3 to 6 inches of snow in the GFS model's case. And you see that Ohio is getting involved, and we see the snow extend to upstate New York as well, and Pennsylvania. So this is definitely something we need. Oh wait, this is a forecast. I apologize. That was a older run, but you see, based on the newer run of the GFS model, it wants to bring even more snow to Pennsylvania than the European model, and we see over a foot of snow in the Adirondacks of upstate New York, and you see the entire Ohio River Valley is experiencing snow in the European model's case, where even Louisville, Kentucky is involved in around 3 to 6 inches. So Ohio is involved, Indiana, Wisconsin, Michigan. So this is definitely something we need to keep in mind. The European model isn't leaning towards bringing much snow. So Ohio River Valley states with the GFS model is bringing a little bit more snow, and the GFS model has already been a little bit more correct as of recently, and it seems like the European model is following the GFS model's trend. So we could see a trend where the GFS model may be a little bit more correct than the European model, since the European model was already wrong initially, and now it wants to follow the GFS model scenario. So it is definitely something we need to keep in mind. We could see our first snowstorm, and we see a larger 3-6 inches overall over the next week. So this is definitely something you guys want to keep in mind. But there's still a lot of uncertainty, but I'll make sure to update you guys once we get more certainty with the forecast, and see how far south that jet stream will dip and how much of a northerly flow we'll experience, because that will determine how much snow you experience throughout the Northeast for next week. Next, let's talk about the snowstorm that's going to impact the upper Midwest states in the very near future, and could bring up to a foot of snow in some areas in Minnesota. If we were to take a look at the forecasted radar from the GFS model, you see that the current trough that's expected to bring snow to the upper Midwest states is located right around the Rocky Mountain ranges at this time. It's expected to move eastward, and we could see our first snow right around the Wednesday time frame, midday on Wednesday, headed into Thursday. And you see that for a lot of Minnesota, you will experience rain initially, and this should definitely limit the amount of snow you experience overall throughout Minnesota, because for a lot of you guys, the precipitation you experience from this storm will mainly fall in the form of rain. So that definitely should limit the amount of snow you experience from this storm throughout Minnesota. So this is definitely something that may be good news for those who don't like the snow, but you guys still could experience snow in those areas, because you see on the backside of this storm, not only will this low pressure rapidly strengthen from an 1,000 millibar storm down to 988 millibars, but we're going to see a strong northwesterly flow and potentially strong winds associated with this low pressure system, and much colder air on the backside for heavy snow to occur on the backside, and in some cases maybe blizzard conditions if the snow is heavy enough, so especially in northern Minnesota. So you see that a lot of Minnesota at this point experiences the backside of this storm, and it affects Minneapolis as well, Wisconsin. For a lot of the Northeast though, and the Great Lakes, you will miss out on this snowstorm, which is a stark contrast from what was originally expected, that you were expected to receive some snowfall, but it seems like this low pressure system will drift further northward, so most of the precipitation will shift further northward as a result. So you won't see much snow in the Great Lakes and the Northeast from this initial snowstorm, but it'll be a stark difference for the Midwest. And the European pretty much agrees with this forecast. Also, we're only around 24 to 48 hours away from this storm, so there isn't a lot of uncertainty. So you guys in the upper Midwest states need to prepare for a heavy snowstorm for you guys. If you were to take a look at what the GFS model is forecasting when it comes to snowfall accumulation over the next 24 to 48 hours, you're going to see that the GFS model is forecasting quite a bit of snow, especially on the northern northern portion of Minnesota, where you could receive over a foot of snow from this storm, and even places further southward like Minneapolis and Fargo, you could experience 1 to 3 to 3 to 6 inches of snow from this initial snowstorm, and you have another snowstorm to add on top of that later during the week. So it should be a very snowy week for you guys throughout the upper Great Lakes for the most part. And taking a look at the radar at this point, you're gonna see that the trough is currently located in the Rocky Mountain regions, and it will move further eastward, and we could see a major snowstorm for a lot of the upper Midwest states. So you need to pay close attention to that. And taking a look at the Arctic Oscillation Index over the next several days, you see that we're expecting to move. We're expected to experience cooler than average conditions over the next several days as a result of a negative Arctic oscillation. Now, in terms of my snowfall forecast, you're going to see that the heaviest snow, I'm expecting it to be right around upstate New York, right around the Adirondacks, which should certainly be something major for you guys. Keep in mind that there's still a lot of uncertainty, and I'm not giving specific numbers just yet for the Northeast and the Great Lakes because there's still several days to iron out the forecast, and there's still a lot of uncertainty. But based on what the GFS and the European model are saying, I'm expecting the heaviest snow to be right around the Adirondacks, heavier snow to be just south of that, and the moderate snow to be even just south of that. And it's affecting a large area of the Northeast, and it's close to the Interstate 95 corridor, which would certainly be a concern for a lot of you guys along the coast of the Northeast. Now, taking a look at what the Midwest, I'm expecting 6 to 12 inches in the northern Midwest states. 3 to 6, right around northern Minnesota. 3 to 6 right around just south of that, and 1 to 3 just south of that, including Minneapolis. So this is something you guys certainly need to keep in mind. But yeah, guys, I guess that's it for this video. I thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more weather-related content. Make sure to like if you like this video. Make sure to turn on post notifications if you want to see even more weather-related content. I hope you guys have a good day.